Okay, let's kick it off. Welcome, everybody. Thank you again for joining us for another new in the queue product feature. My name is David Strausser, sales here at Quaint Business Solutions. Quaint, if you don't know, we are an SAP Business One provider. We value excellency in customer service as well as knowledge in the SAP Business One application. Part of what we do at Quaint is to ensure that we are always bringing the latest and greatest innovations in the SAP B1 space to our existing customers and potential new customers, which is what brings us to our presentation today. Today, we got Quaint's own Wilmer Marquez here. He's going to show you around the SAP Business One web client. Welcome, Wilmer. Just a reminder, we will have a question and answer, time at the end, should any questions arise during the presentation. So please be sure to jot down any questions in there. I think you could see the chat or the QA button, something like that on your team screen there in Microsoft, but throw it in there and we'll be happy to answer those questions following the presentation. If we run out of time, we'll get back to you in email. And now, Wilmer, if you're ready, I'm going to stop giving people digital paper cuts and turn it over to you, my man.
Thank you, David. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join this session today. As David explained before, we're going to take some time to look at what web client base in the Fiori principles is offering to us, okay? I'm going to start by sharing my screen real quick, and we're going to go to our demo database, okay? So pretty sure you're all familiar with this screen. This is your desktop client screen, and I'm going to start with how to access the web client portal, okay? So you have two options. We can start with admin tab, or we can just go here. So if you go to the admin module, you have an option that literally says web client. You can simply tap here, and that should take you to your browser. So I want to highlight that this is all coming with the out-of-the-box version of your SAP Business One. You don't need extra licensing. This is all coming together from the same software, okay? And for those of you that haven't used a web client before, this is how it looks. So this is based on the Fiori principles. They have a little bit more modern look. List view also, it's easier to navigate through. And I wanted to share that, well, you'll know SAP has been investing a lot of this last few years with Fiori. So we might see future updates and more products using the same principles or being built with the same principles later on. So the fact that we're getting into the web client this time helps make transitions a little bit easier. Now I want to discuss what the menus are, how they look like, and how we can personalize all of them. Right? You keep in mind you don't need to have any knowledge in programming or anything like that to customize your cockpit, your modules, all your submenus or tiles or anything. Okay, so you're gonna have your main menu on the left. This looks pretty similar to our desktop client version, but the beauty of this is having all your modules here. Okay, you're gonna be able to customize all of them, and we're gonna start by just going to your profile logo. Some versions may have it right here. The one we're handling right now is our 10.0. Pretty sure it's one of the latest updates we have in the web client right now. We have different options once you click on this profile logo. Recent activities and frequently used, App Finder, settings, we're gonna go through those, and edit homepage. The rest are, of course, your contact support, which you can click all the time or just simply email us about and sign out. All right, so if we go to settings, we're gonna be able to customize a little bit of the appearance, homepage, language, general settings, extensibility if you have some extensions you add in your company and so on. And of course, your notifications, which is also a little bit different than a regular window that pops up with the web client. And there is also an add-on that we don't have right now in this demo, but it can be configured in a way that you can see your team's notifications also here. Now let's go to the editing, okay? So once I click on the edit, we're gonna see that everything is now grayed out and there's some excess on the tiles, so that means you can remove them. You can also change the location for your models. And if you notice, I only had a few before, right? So since we're using Jason Butler's account, Jason is a super user, he has access to all of them. Of course, this is limited based on the permissions of the user, but you can simply hide or show the modules you want to add. Okay, so let's say I want to show the analytics one that I don't have. That's going to be the last one being added in there. I can also move it. Let's say, oh, it came up here. I want to move it right here to the end. I can simply drag it. So the web client part brings up the simplicity of just, I want to drag this and put it wherever I want it. Okay, so let's just leave it here right behind payments. We're going to go over that as well. Okay, you have my home, which is where you have all your main tiles. Okay, and of course you can navigate through all of your modules. You can just simply scroll down or click on each of them, whatever is easier for you. Of course you can show and add groups and everything, add more tiles. If you click here or human resources, that's going to give you more options. What if I want to add the create timesheet tile? I just pin in here, okay? And that's coming up in the HR module, right? So it's as simple as adding or taking off these options from your main cockpit, okay? Now for the example purposes, we're just gonna leave these modules active, okay? And let's start with our CRM, okay? So I wanted to focus on, business partners, also on opportunities in the beginning, since those are probably the most used by some companies. You're gonna have access to everything as you do with the web client, with the web desktop version, I'm sorry. It's just a different view, right? It's easier to navigate everything from the master data to sales, purchasing, production reporting, everything is structured in a way that's, intuitive and consistent. So what we're gonna do right now is get to the business partners. You have your filters on top, and you're also gonna have these three guys right here. So this will pretty much show you charts and reports are always with you throughout any module in the web client. We're gonna go in depth a little bit later today. Table, chart, and card view. Okay, those are your reports all the time. Now, you can add more, yes. You can customize them, yes. Something I like to highlight here is we can use these columns here to group or to customize what we want to see. For example, I want to see my business partners by category. I can simply right-click, click on group. Let me just take off this filter here. And now I see my business partners by categories. I have customers, leads, and vendors. This is a nice way to see them if you just want to separate them. Of course, you have different filters on top. This is an easier way to get there. You can also customize your columns. If you click here in the settings button, you can remove and add different columns depending on what you're looking to get to. Now, another highlight is you can have this view set up as default. Okay, and you have different options. These are defaulted by SAP. Now, if you want to maintain this view, you need to save it. If you go out, you're going to lose it. Let me come to the opportunities here and show you what I'm talking about. There are different opportunities. And again, this can be handled on any different module or tile that you clicked on. You have defaulted options and you have options that you created. For example, these are opportunities that I grouped by business partners. I wanted to see them this way. But my defaulted view was most recent opportunities. And this is what I had saved on. Now, I can come here and manage the list I have. This one I created it. Let's say I made a typo. I can also come in and, rename it if I wanted to. And now every time I click on opportunities, this is going to be the first view I have. Okay, I save this by just simply clicking here and clicking on save. All these views are user private unless you make them public. For example, if I want to save this as, type it in, I can set as a default view or set public. Okay, I can save both options together or either or. Now again, you can also customize all of this, take things off, add more columns depending on what you're trying to do. Now let's talk a little bit about our views. We have the main one is table view, gives you a nice view of everything listed out. Now you have your chart view, which in this case, you can apply different filters and you're gonna be able to see in the legend what is every line, referring to. And then the last one, which is probably one of my favorites, is the card view, okay? So I can go in, check out the information, but I can also, edit these cards if I wanted to. Simply clicking on edit. I can modify any of these charts, any of these reports. I can add them, or I can add more information. So I created this one earlier today, making sure I have some information for my self-employees. But let's say I want to add a KPI. So in this case, potential amount. And that's the option I have selected here. I have different options. Gross profit could be a good one. Maybe weighted amount, depending on what I'm interested in showing here. Okay, and I can save. There goes. Now I have a different KPI showing in this report, and so on. So you're gonna have different options throughout different modules, so you can add, edit, or remove different reports. Finish editing and go back to my list view. Now, let me show you something real quick. On the desktop end, you have a yellow arrow that usually takes you to submenus and more information on the BPs, whether it's a item master data or a BP partner, business partner code or information. So you have something similar here. This case, you click on it and you're gonna have some detail share on that particular business partner, okay? This information can be customized. You will need some add-ons to do it, but this comes from Web Client default. Now, if you click on View More, you have the option to have all your BP's information in a different tab. It's also a cool feature on Web Client because it lets you navigate through different tabs and different tasks all together. Okay, so if I don't want to miss what I'm doing here, but I want to check out something on my business partners, I can do it. Okay, and you can pretty much do everything here. You have your edit, you can add the information, remove information, contact addresses, everything. And you have an unlimited, you can add unlimited contacts, you can add unlimited addresses as well. You can even set different payment terms for this particular BP. We're just gonna leave it like that. Now, you also have the same navigational buttons right here where you can go to different data, previous or the last data record. Okay, and you have something that you don't see as easy on the desktop client is the credit limit utilization. And I found this a pretty cool feature we have. Sometimes when you open it for the first time, you're not gonna see it. So you can simply come here to admin, system, initialization, and general settings. And then by clicking on the BP tab, you can enable this credit limit. That's how you're gonna be able to see it popping up on all your BPs. Okay, so we went over some opportunities. Let me just go quickly here, move on the sales module real quick. And I wanna show you how quickly it is to go from, let's say, a sales order to a delivery and so on. I'm gonna show you the different steps going with serialized items. So since we're working with MaxiTech, we're gonna simply take the first quote we have here. It's also the first order, I'm sorry. Copy it to delivery. All right, everything is filled out automatically as it usually is. Now, in this case, again, all this can be modified. We can edit all the fields and we can add options or remove options as we normally do. Now, I want to add the in stock. So I want to see what I have in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put it, let's say after unit price. That's good. I have it here. 52. They're asking for 20. That's perfect. Now, when it comes to serial numbers, you're going to have to most likely add this option in the menu.
Is there something
then,
we can help with?
And then you're going to have to auto select everything. Okay. This is done in the desk client through a different window, but here you have to do it this way. Excuse me. Got a different thing here going on. Give me 1 second.
While Wilmer is pulling this up, just a quick reminder, if you want to start throwing in some questions in the Q&A, we'll get those at the end of the webinar. Sorry about that, Wilmer.
Thank you, David. No worries. All right, guys. So once your serial numbers are in place, you can click on Add and View. And of course, that's going to take you to your delivery. All right. Now you have your information here. Now, don't forget, this is all happening live. So you're going to see all these changes in reflected or updated in your desktop client version. I want to show you the relationship map, which we usually use a lot in the desktop version. This is how it looks, a little bit different. Now we're going to go ahead and close this one. There it goes. Now this is the 1176. Let's go here real quick. Pick out our deliveries. We can go ahead to the last one. There you go, 1176. This one's closed. We have 20. Everything matches. All right. So everything done here is updated live in your desktop client version. Okay. Now, you have different options, of course, and you have different access. Let's say you're in purchasing, like you have more like a distribution channel. You have all your options here as well. You can check out your AP, invoices, purchase request. And if you notice, there are some numbers in the tiles. So this tells you the number of documents are in there. Now, if I click here on the refresh, I should have another one because I closed it. But this one was the one I just processed. So now I have 274. Okay. And so on. So every information is updated live here too. If you have production, you have different options available for bill of materials, production order, receipt from production, and you can add more tiles. Now, mind you, the MRP function is not fully developed yet on the web client. That's still in process, is coming up, but you won't have that, nor the wizards in this version. For the accounting, it's interesting they separated these two into modules here, but you have all your options as well. And again, you just you can accept incoming payments. Let's say you have an incoming payment from Axitec, okay? You can process it right here. Outgoing payments. Want to check out something for a customer. They said that they wanted to pay off. Let me just see here. For Maxitech, everything is pre-filled. They have 3 invoices. All right, they want to pay this one. So that's auto-selected. You can decide whether you want to do it with, what payment method, what account is it going to. Simply put the amount, add a view. That's it. Now you recorded a payment from Maxitech. It's as easy as that. And again, you can be working on different tasks using your different browser tabs. And the analytics is also very deep. You have different options where you can customize what type of reports you want to see. You can add more options again by just adding your cockpit. And here, if you go in the general overview, you're going to see different reports available for you to manage sales orders, items, opportunity value, invoices, etc. So that pretty much concludes this time for the overview for the web client. There is a lot of more information that we can share in future demos, but this is for the overview.
Sorry about that. Took me a second to unmute. Thank you very much, Wilmer. We've got a couple questions here for you. If you have any questions right now, would be an excellent time. Throw those into the chat while we have time to get at them. Let me just open up my list of questions here I have. Are there any functions or modules that maybe are not included as of right now? Like I know you mentioned MRP is on the way. Anything else like that?
Yeah, so all the wizards are not included in there. So if you're using a wizard, you're still gonna have to rely on your desktop client. Same with when it comes to add-ons, Deb, thank you for that question. Crystal report or anything coming from volume is still not up, and you won't be able to work it on the web client. Like the way B1 options or crystal reports, that's not something you could use.
For Boyum with BM1 up, they did tell us that they are working on that development, but as we all know, until it's out and delivered, it could be another couple quarters till we see that. But they did confirm with me last week when I asked them, knowing this webinar was coming up, it is in development currently for the web client for B1 up. So do we have any other questions out there? Oh, there was one other question with the web browser I received. They wanted to know with the web client, when you have multiple tabs open, you're able to do different tasks in different tabs, correct? So you can be like sales or CRM in one, delivery and another tab, another screen or whatever. It's not like copied across all the tabs, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. You can work on different modules at the same time, and you won't lose the information on any of them.
Okay, and then the final question would be, there is no middleware or anything like that. This is from SAP out of the box, like you had stated in the beginning, and it connects directly to Business One, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, I do not believe I have any more questions. So with that, Wilmer, again, thank you so much. And thank you again, everybody. Really appreciate every single one of you taking time out of your day to come here to check out this webinar. Please be sure to follow announcements for the next product feature and other great things that are always going on here at Quaint. Also, please don't forget to check out our website, www.quaintbusiness.com, to find other great resources and information. Once again, I'm David Strasser here at Quaint Business, and thank you all again for joining us today, and we'll see you next month with the Quaint in the new in the queue product feature.